Right, we'll kick this off. So, according to Dominic, this is the first of a series of these things. Whenever anyone notable or famous comes to town, we'll get in here with me and Greg and we'll chat to them again.
I don't know about me.
So, yeah, after tonight, probably never again. But, so this is basically an actors-only gig, and we're interested in talking about auditions, screen technique, and the profession generally. And the thing that's a bit odd about this is that we've all pretty much just wrapped on film. Our last day's tomorrow. So we'll probably be talking a little bit about that. And I'm going to start with, actually I want to start by saying when Dominic arrived, we were in a state of shock for several days. First of all, we were excited because when he walked in the room we knew, oh, this movie's going to have some legs, and Dom will tell you a bit more about that. But secondly also, we all thought he was some kind of brute and was quite scared of him. And that was justified on several occasions. Greg wasn't. He was just pretending to be scared.
Yeah.
And then over the 5 weeks, it's actually been the most fantastic experience because he really has been the most generous actor and a really neat guy to befriend. And typical of Dominic is that he, when he found out I was a teacher, said, well, do you want me to come and talk to your students? So that was just fantastic. And I was like, fuck yeah. So here he is. What I want to do is just start with Dominic talking to us from right from the start, from where we got, from where he is now, how it all began back in Australia. So if you don't mind, Dominic,
sure.
That'd be
Hello. How many actors we got here? Interesting. Well, I never wanted to be an actor. I never had any desire to be an actor. My girlfriend at the time, I grew up in Australia. My girlfriend, I left school and all I wanted to do was landscape gardening. That was it. That was my passion. It was surfing and being creative outdoors. My girlfriend was a model at the time, and I remember picking her up in this casting agency, and I was sitting in the room like this, reading Woman's Day or whatever it was. The casting person came out and said, "Oh my God, is that your boyfriend?" And she said, "Yes." And she said, "Well, he has the perfect head for a cigarette commercial." So, and I'm sitting there, all right. And she said, "Well, come into, do you mind talking, saying, do you mind talking to the camera, just introducing yourself?" And so all you have to do is just look at the camera and say your name and that's it. All right. Hi, I'm Dom. That's it. And then she asked me some questions, some personal questions about where I grew up, blah, blah. I did that. Anyway, long story short, 2 days later, my girlfriend said, "You got that commercial." And I said, "What commercial?" "You know how you talked to the camera the other day?" "Yeah, well, you got it." So there I was, earning $800 a week as a landscape gardener, which is great money. And flying in first class to Asia, big hotel, $50,000 for 4 days' work. Yeah. And all they wanted me to do is get in this canoe and fall down this fucking rapid thing with the rapids and the thing, and they wired a cigarette to my finger, and the thing was the thing I'd fall into the water, and that's all I had to do. So it was $50,000 a week's work, and then I flew back to Australia thinking, okay, well, this landscape gardening is not going to happen. I'm going to be a fucking movie star, and I'm going to be fucking rich. So that's the genesis of how I became an actor, and it's true. I wasn't the most well-read person. I was very ignorant. I had no interest in poetry or reading or the intellectual sides of things. I was from a very working class background on football and surfing, and was kind of my sensibilities, and But anyway, so I got back, and then I decided to go to. I remember at home. I hope I'm not boring people because I'm boring myself talking about myself. I got back home and looked in the paper and looked up acting studios, and I rang up and there was an acting there. So I traveled to this thing, and I remember getting into this huge kind of place, and there were like lots and lots and lots and lots of people like you guys. And I walked in my fucking construction outfit, and I'm so out of place here. This is not going to be for me. Then all these kids were playing games like the U game and pretending to be fucking apes and dogs, and improvisation was just going nuts. Yeah, like what they do. Yeah, all the stuff that you guys do right now, you know. And I was sitting at the back, just thinking, fuck, this is so stupid. I gotta fucking get out of here. This is what's required to be an actor, forget it. I'm not gonna fucking do this shit. And I walked out, and just as I was walking out, Rose Clementi, she's a famous theatre actress in Australia, one of the great theatre actresses, and she saw me and said, you, come out front. Oh. So I got dragged out front, and there's this young girl who was obviously an actress and very skilled and had been doing it for quite some time. And the improvisation was, we're a married couple, and I cheated on her, and action. And remember, this is the first time I'd ever been on the floor in my life. First time I'd ever fucking really acted, ever. And it was the first day I actually arrived in an actor's studio, ever. So, bang, this girl just went at me, actress, like, about this and that, like improvising and just saying, oh, you asshole, how dare you cheat on me, you fucking prick, blah, 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 blah. 5 minutes. And I didn't say a word, not a word. Not because I was listening, because I was fucking terrified. I didn't know what to do. And I tried I was just so fucking fearful. And in my head, okay, wait, this that's it, when this is done, I'm fucking out of here. Everyone clapped and went nuts for the thing, and all the kids are like, fuck, and Rose said, so what did you tell me about the student? And everyone was talking about the girl. They were saying, oh, she was amazing, she was this, and the way she was connected to truth and thought, and all this actor talk. And she said, yes, but you know what worked for me in this whole scene was Dominic. And why was Dominic, and why is that? And kids are going, oh. She said, well, he was listening.
But he wasn't.
But I wasn't. She didn't realize that. I wasn't listening to a word this fucking chick was saying. I was just fucking wanting to get out of here. And then Rose took me to a place called Australian Theatre for Young People, a place where it provides young talent. I don't know, and then I just caught the acting bug and started really watching movies and what have you, and became passionate about it. And I auditioned for the drama schools. I got into all of them, which is bizarre.
So what schools did you audition?
I auditioned for NIDA, WAPA, VCA, got into all three.
What did you go? What one did you go to?
WAPA in the end, Western Australia.
Western Australia.
Yeah. So I got into all of those, and then I got into drama school, and very much the same. Only a year's experience in the business, and got to drama school, and I was out of my element. I was surrounded by very intelligent people, university grads, people very well read, and I felt kind of insecure and out of my place because I was surrounded by these people that knew everything about everything, and I didn't know anything. And so the first year was pretty bad. I was shocking, actually. See, the thing about being young as an actor or getting into a drama school is that you don't have to be great. It's not about being a great actor. It's Peter's job as a teacher to identify talent, and an innate something, and that's the responsibility of these teachers, because sometimes you'll be sitting there going, that guy sucks, but people who have been around the business for a long time can spot it. And so that's what they must have seen, something in me, and I got in, Then I graduated 3 years, and I decided to go to Western Australian Academy of Performing Arts, and Hugh Jackman was in my year, and we're still, we're the only two that really have kicked on, and still great friends, and I got out of drama school.
Can I interrupt you and
Yeah,
just ask you who your teacher was there, and what did drama school give you? Was it worth going to drama school?
Yeah, for me it was. Before drama school, because of my commercial and whatever, I thought I was pretty fucking good, and I got an agent, one of the great agents in Steve Shannon, the agent for Mel Gibson, and he took me on, and I had, again, no experience. I just thought it was fucking easy. I just thought, camera, just rock up and do some acting. And I'm Country Practice. Remember that show? Was anyone familiar with Country Practice? Well, that was my first audition as an actor with no experience, with no teaching, no nothing. And I sat there, I couldn't even, I was brain fade. Just sat there looking at the camera going, fuck, this is fuck. Feeling so embarrassed because I couldn't remember the words, the lines, I didn't have anything. So I got out of there feeling really crushed and demoralized, thinking, okay, well, acting is not for me. And then I decided to go to drama school. And drama school was very important for me because what it did, it gave me confidence. It gave me the ability to work on my craft every single day and slowly build up an understanding of the subliminal subtleties of what acting is. And a big thing, so confidence was number one for me, and movement was a huge thing for me. I was very big dude back when I was a young kid, and I was so stiff and unaware of my body. And
But you surfed then when you
yeah,
were
yeah, and lift a lot of weights, and so I was very, but movement for me was one of the big things because through physicality, I was able to explore emotions. I know it sounds bizarre, but for me, movement was a big revelation.
Did you wear tights in the movement class?
Oh, you asshole. Yeah. No, I didn't. I was asked to. I rocked up first day, second day of drama school in board shorts, and they wouldn't allow me in the room. And Lisa Scott Murphy, the movement teacher, said she wouldn't let me in. I had to take the shorts off and put some tights on. I said, I'm not wearing fucking tights. Forget it. And she said, well, you can't go into class. And so then I was called into the office. Lyle Jones was the drama, the head of the school. Wonderful. I'm so indebted to him. He was a wonderful man, and an old Shakespearean actor from England, and he was the dean of the school, and he really kind of babysat me through those first couple of years. I mean, I was kind of really.
But what did you mean by emotion was movement was connected to? Didn't you just say movement was connected to emotion or something? You just said, didn't you say?
Yeah.
How does that? What do you mean?
Well, anyway, just to finish Greg's thing. So Lyle pulled me into the office and said, you have to wear tights. This is because what tights does apparently is that it shows you alignment of the body and what have you. And I said, yeah, well, look, man, that's fine, but I'm not wearing fucking tights. So he said, well, you probably get expected, I said, fine. That's how kind of stupid I was when I was younger. And, but he gave me a pass on it. And so to this day, men don't wear tights at Wapa. And that was...
But they have to wear board shorts.
But they have to wear boardies. And that was my claim to fame at that school.
You want to get back to movement?
Yeah, movement. Well, when you walk around like this for 20 years, there was a lot of, I'm not going to go into my family history, but let's just say that, like a lot of us, I suffered a lot of pain and shit when I was younger. So I grew up I just walked around like that. So walking with a real hard shell stopped me from accessing emotions. So it was like a physical release when I started to drop the muscle, and I was able to do things and move things, and I started tapping into kind of strange kind of things, and again, that's
become more open.
Yeah. And I remember the teacher saying, "Dom, you have to kind of open yourself up like that to just, from a subconscious level, to just be open as a young actor." all the games, I've since realized, all the games that you guys may be doing right now or whatever, yeah, they're stupid, but they're necessary because what they do is they break down inhibitions. And they're the building blocks for actors as we progress, as we grow older. I mean, if you can look like, you know, a turtle or an ape or whatever it is and do stupid things, you're allowing yourself you're giving yourself potential to explore as an actor.
Look, just to give you one idea of what Dom was like to work with, for about a week we really needed nicknames for the cast. So I was the intellectual homosexual, and in a sense I am intellectual anyway. And this takes you back to actioning. Actioning is the most brutal, horrible, physical method of physical actions. Actors hate doing it, but when I work, I will action a line. You know, often, not all the time, but a couple of lines in a scene. And so that was at the time a physical exercise for me to learn, a painful exercise for me to learn. But there's like a little residual, like a little echo of it, which is really fucking useful for me. So just to back up what you were saying.
Yeah, yeah.
So what do you mean by action? You mean
Excuse me, have we opened up questions from the floor? Can you hold that thought?
She can.
She can. Okay, very good, very good. But we'll get to you, I promise.
What was I saying? Ask me some questions, man.
Well,
ask Phil some questions.
I want to, just really quickly.
Like Phil's his character in the movie.
Just in 3 minutes or less.
Okay.
Just from there to here, in terms of your career. Just
From drama. Okay.
Yeah, just
So I graduated.
Everything you want to share.
Yeah, I graduated from drama school. It's all theatre based, but I got cast in a TV show in Australia called Raw Fan. Blah blah blah. So I had no camera experience. I had like a turn of it, but it was useless. I got that thinger, and I had to learn on the job, in front of the camera. It was very intimidating. So my performance was very small. That's my go-to defense when I don't know what I'm fucking doing. It's like a boxer. If you're confused, you jab. When I was acting, I didn't really have any camera technique. I didn't know really what I was doing, and I wasn't a great student of acting or whatever, so it was more instinctual stuff, and so then I got confident and became better and blah blah blah, and then from there I did a few things, and then from there I went to America after winning the lottery, the green card lottery, and then I did. I got to LA, and so this is about 4 years after drama school when I was about 27, 28, something like that. Then I did a year in LA being told I really fucking sucked. And
tell us about the auditions in that.
Yeah,
6 months or 8 months?
It was 6 months of, I landed a big agent, and in Australia I was comfortable, but when I got to the States I was thrown back by the enormity of the place, and the whole culture, the whole thing was just really intimidating, and so I lacked complete confidence. And we're going to talk about confidence today, how important it is. But I shut down when I started auditioning. I got really scared and became very, I just clammed up a lot.
Well, what was your hit rate in terms of auditions that sucked and auditions that were good?
Well, I auditioned, say, 80 auditions was about what I got before I landed my first thing, and I would say 10 of them I did okay, the rest I was horrific, and one of them was amazing, and that was the one that got me where I am today. But I had this interesting conversation with my agent when I was really bad, I was sucking, like about the 7th audition. I got this call, and he said to me, look, I just got the call from the casting agent, and they said you were really green. They thought you were kind of, and then he said, maybe you should just go back to Australia because, you had a great career there, and, maybe this is not the place for you. And I got off the phone and I started crying. I was just really mortified because it was my kind of dream after years of, going to America and being a movie star, and then realizing in that moment that, fuck, I don't have it. And then I didn't have anywhere to go. It was just like, and I was married at the time with a kid too. And I remember driving back and got back to the house and just sat in my room. And then a couple of days I started it's the failure thing started dissipating and it became anger. And I said, fuck, you know what? This is bullshit. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but I'm fucking good. I know I'm good. But no one's seen it yet. And I can't say that I'm good because I haven't proved to anyone I'm fucking good. So, and then for some reason, and this is the day that I'll never forget, this is the audition that was amazing. And I can't I can't explain it, I can't articulate, but I remember getting to the Fox studios. And it was a big deal, big audition, because Mimi Leader, she's a big director, Hollywood. She works with Spielberg, she's done big studio movies and whatever, and I was just like, I don't care, man. I got out of my truck and I was lying on the fucking pavement, I'll never forget this. I was lying on the pavement, and all these other actors were walking around. I don't know why I was lying on the pavement. I don't know why I was doing what I was doing. I had no understanding of why I was behaving the way I was behaving in that moment. But I walked into the audition, and something about changing my behavior before I got into the audition triggered something within me that allowed me to fucking explode. And I fucking nailed it. And then she just went, oh my God, that was extraordinary. And I went, fuck yeah, I know it was. I got really fucking arrogant in that moment because it was about fucking time. About fucking time I came and realized my potential. And then she said, okay, we need you to audition for the studio tonight, at Fox Studio. So I walk into this thing, and there's a big office with 50 suits. They're all wearing suits. They're these executives, the people that run the studio. And they're all watching me, and I'm auditioning with Meatloaf. Remember the guy Meatloaf? So he had already been cast in the pilot as one of the other characters. So there I am with Meatloaf reading opposite him.
But I won't do that.
Yeah, and again, I nailed the audition. I nailed it. And then I'm driving home at about 9 o'clock. I get a call from my agent who's whooping and hollering like Jeremy fucking Maguire. You got the role, you got the role. And the show was called John Doe. And that was 2001. It was a year-long thing.
And you were the lead, weren't you?
I was the lead.
Yeah.
It became a big deal. And then it only lasted a year because the studio head, Gail Berman, and myself hated the writers, hated the showrunners. And so she said to me, do you want to can the show? And I said, well, only if you want. And she said, yes. So then Fox said, fuck it, we love you so much, we're going to give you $600,000 to do nothing. we want to buy you, and so you have creative control on what you want to do. And I was like, this is just fantastic. I don't have to fucking do anything. You guys are going to be $600,000 to develop stuff, to do whatever I fucking want to do. And then, so I went off and did Blade Trinity and did some indie films, and I was developing TV on the side with these big shot fucking writers and directors, and then Prison Break came my way. And it was the best thing I'd ever read without a doubt. And Gail said, the studio head said, well, we want you to do this, but you need to come in and read for Brett Ratner and Paul Schering, the showrunners. And Wentworth Miller, who played my brother in the show, was in the room. He'd already been cast. Yeah. Wentworth has that effect, of course. I just did a read through. I did the read, and I was very arrogant. I remember feeling very arrogant and cocky about my life at the time, and and I got the role. And Prison Break was Prison Break, and then I stopped doing. Then Prison Break ended, and I did some films, and now I'm about to go off and do another huge show for Warner Brothers and the CW network with my brother Wentworth. I'm playing. It's called Legends of Tomorrow. It's a DC comic book universe. I'm playing Captain America. Wentworth's playing Captain Cold, and so I'm about to go on another big.
You're the Heat, aren't you?
Yeah, the Heat. Yeah. Heat wave. So that's kind of it.
Okay.
Did you get a new truck with you?
Look,
Yeah, I got a truck. Yeah.
I wouldn't have said this 4 weeks ago, but this couldn't happen to a nice guy. When we were in Tutukaga to self-test for something, and he heard about it and said, "Oh, I'll come over and help you with it." I'm like, "Well, fucking course." So comes over and very generous guy. So look,
Well, let me talk about that generosity thing. It's surprising me.
well, that was surprising for me because, you know, mostly I'm just so shit scared, I'm just worried about my own close-up. John is constantly thinking about you. So in the scene, you'll see something you need and he'll stop, and because he's got the authority, because I'm just like a fucking acting minnow, and he'll go, oh, can we have this, travel this for Pete? And I'm going, fucking thanks, mate.
Well, I think it's, you know, I mean, the producer on this, James, you know, he came to me the other day and said, you know, I would really want to thank you for being so generous and you know, and whatever. It always surprises me when people say that, because for me, I think it's because of my training. I think it's because going to drama school and being taught I mean, I wasn't a child actor, so my understanding was instant. It was like they got me at the right moment. So acting's about sharing. It's about making sure that Greg is shining, that I'm shining, that Peter's shining, that what you're working on is working. So this whole generosity thing, you know, like, you know, I
It's
mean,
kind of selfish.
well, yeah, you know, and it's kind of like James was saying, you know, not once have you fought for more screen time or wanting bigger close-ups, demanding shit. I'm like, that's always it's like, no, man, I'm a fucking actor, man. It's all about the work.
My last question that's just for you and not for the two of you is,
What?
my last question that's just for you and not for the two of you.
You mean the guy with the mic?
We're
as opposed to
coming
the one
back.
that's not.
Hey, you have a mic. Where's his mic? There's his mic.
No, it's all right.
It's just a little further away. Yeah, we can't hear anything you say. Is why you did this film. So, because you were offered it, obviously, and you said yes.
I did this film because it's just an extraordinary story. It's a true story. 4 guys lost out at sea, 4 months stranded, and beautifully written. You know, I'm all about the work. You know, I want to do great work, and as actors, we all want to be a part of great work. We want to do something, but understand that you want to do great work, and that should be the goal. But the reality is, very rarely do we get to do great work. That's the reality. Unless you're Brad Pitt or George Clooney, and you know they can do what they want to do, but even then they still fuck up. You know, so. But you got to work out pretty quick what your goal is, what you want to achieve. Understand that you're here because you are talented. That it's out of your control. You have no say in what's going to happen in your career. You know, Hugh's a great friend of mine, and we often talk about stuff, and he says, "Look, I'm only Hugh Jackman because of Wolverine." You know, I mean, he's not getting all these big movies because he's the best actor in the world. It doesn't work like that. It's all about, when you're at a place where I'm at, it's all about monetary value, what you're worth. So this film is a classic example of that. I am not character-wise right for my role. It doesn't work. And I shouldn't be in this movie. Seriously. I shouldn't be.
Well, when he walked in, that's what we all thought.
But I still believe it. I still believe, because it's based on a true story. This American guy is slight. He's like, he looks like a heroin addict, you know, and he's like 5'6" and yeah, you know, all of the things that I'm kind of not. And so, but that's the business. So they can only get this movie made if I did it.
Right, but you get it made, but it wouldn't be.
It'd be straight to
no
TV.
one would see it.
No one would see it.
Yeah.
So, if you can see, you got to see acting as a business as well. It really is a business. When you're young as an actor, when life's responsibilities are not on you, that's the time to go out there and go for it. If you're single or whatever, just fucking let life dictate it. But at the end of the day, it's business.
Greg, anything you want to add at this point? I'm going to spin it around both of you now, and then we'll go to the floor about 5 to 10. So anything you want to say about that, Greg? Verbal vomit, that's just a single word?
Not really, I can't really.
Talk about confidence.
Well,
Right.
see, confidence, right. So, he reckons it's 40%, he's got no idea, look at it. It's about 10% and 90% confidence. Now, confidence, though, involves preparation and experience so that you have that feeling that you know what you're doing. and you can trust yourself in a situation where things, pressure can come on you, and you've got to have that confidence that you'll be fine. But so that takes a while, but the first thing to do is preparation. That's what gives you the confidence, to be prepared.
Sure.
You know you're ready. And then finally, if it ever happens, there's a lot of luck involved. But you've got to be ready when the luck arrives. You've got to have done all the work and get set for it, and away you go.
The confidence allows you to perform better.
That's right, and it gives you the opportunity. It gives you the confidence to make the choices that you wouldn't normally make. That's what it is. And then if you make interesting choices, then you become an interesting actor, and people want to see you, and then producers want to use you, and there's all this spin-off because of confidence.
Is confidence talked about a lot with students?
No, I guess we cover self-belief and confidence, but not as a core subject. No.
No, right.
Well, it should be, because to me it's just so important. It's just, but maybe it is just by
what I tell people is that no matter what your doubts are, no matter what your hang-ups are, no matter how fucked up you think you are, no matter how brutal your childhood was, you have a right to be an actor, you have a right to be here, and no one's ever going to, who's going to say how well your career is going to go?
Absolutely.
No one can guess that.
No.
I tell people that. Because I don't want people thinking I have to get perfect, I have to solve all my neurotic shit before I can act. It's like, no.
No, well, we were talking about this on set about being perfect, and then the great perfect, the best sort of performances are sort of
the imperfect ones.
Is the imperfection of them.
Yeah. See, Brando for me is the greatest actor of all time, screen actor. No one will ever be better than him, ever.
But tell them why.
Because he was very ambivalent about acting. He didn't really. He loved it, but it didn't define him. So that afforded him the grace to be. Fuck it, whatever.
He invented.
Yeah, he invented naturalism, of course, on screen, but there was something. He had. I think it was that rebel within him that afforded him the license to be what the fuck he wanted to be on screen. You combine that kind of attitude, that kind of talent, that kind of beauty, that kind of thing. You're gonna, you can't go wrong. He made brilliant choices because he was so in the fucking moment. He wasn't concerned about the camera. He wasn't concerned about continuity. He wasn't concerned about any of this stuff. He was just an animal. He was just fucking there in the moment. And that's something we'll talk about a bit later. But
what continuity? This guy and continuity are not friends.
Yeah. No. I mean, continuity is very important. You need it for basic film technique, of course, but you can't be defined by it. I remember when I first got into acting. When I first did my big TV show, I remember occasionally the script supervisor would come and say, on this line you put your hand there, and that line you did this, and this, and in that moment I went, fuck, okay, I'm going to be a really simple actor, because I don't want to fucking remember any of this shit. And so I started making small choices. And people say, what is it, small is better, it's not, less is more?
Less is good.
Well, there's a reason for that.
Auditions, getting back to auditions, Greg, this idea that I think when you were talking to me a couple of days ago, you were saying how, I don't know, that you had no problem, you had an issue in a sense, because you don't audition now much at all, right?
Let me hold you up. So,
there you go.
1 second. So this is Brando was so good because he was imperfect.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He was imperfect. We have a tendency as actors to get in front of the camera and do it right. We gotta fucking nail it. You don't nail it, fuck. You walk out like, oh. No, acting is, Stanislavski said, life is imperfect. That's kind of what Brando brought to the camera. You saw him searching for his fucking line, because he didn't know it. You saw him blubbering, slubbering, doing this, not worrying about continuity, not just being, that's why he was so good.
He was mesmerising, wasn't he? Because you just wanted to watch him.
Yeah.
And you didn't know why, but it was just because he just was doing things so differently. Because he did invent that.
He was doing something so differently because he wasn't following the common denominator of what acting is. That's why acting these days is you get a bunch of actors, they look great, they look convincing, And they're great because they're doing what's kind of technically correct. But then you have these geniuses that come along every now and then that reinvent the wheel. The latest one for me is Tom Hardy, that young kid. He's kind of a bit like Brando in that he makes these like just breathtaking choices.
I thought Edward Norton was going to be better than he was.
But he got a bit lazy. No, Ed got a bit lazy.
To start with, he was really interested.
I agree with you.
And then it just sort of, I don't know what happened.
He's a complicated child.
Is he complicated?
Right. Okay. So auditions. I think when we were talking, you were saying sucking is good, and
What?
then being in auditions. You were saying being bad in auditions, in a sense, didn't bother you, and in a sense, but it didn't bother you that you were 5 or 6 bad, and then one was really good.
That's what you were talking
I
about.
was saying to Dominic. I was saying to Dominic.
No, you
Yeah, I can talk. I'm allowed to talk.
No, just to be clear, this wasn't
So
an accusation.
I was there.
These have been like this the whole film. It's fucking hilarious.
What we were talking about was they had in the audition having the lines perfect, down perfect. And
Oh, yes,
they were just saying,
when I go into a room, when I go into an audition, I do what I gotta fucking do to make this thing work. I don't care what the writer says or the director says or whatever. I massage dialogue. I edit shit all the time. So does Phil. So if shit doesn't work, I'm losing it. And I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do to make this performance pop in front of camera. Now, do you have the confidence to do that at your early development? Can you get away with it? Do you want to get away with it? See, you're saying no because I'll get in trouble and I'll get this and that. Well, that's a choice, and that's fine because I did the same thing when I got out of drama school. I did things by the book. I just had to learn this fucking line. I can't get it right. What if I change it to this? No, because then the director would think, and the casting. But here's the thing, and I've learned this since. That's bullshit, because auditioning or acting, it's not an exam. It's not a line learning test. They don't care if you get it right or wrong, just as long as you bring the moments that bring the character to life. The director will see that in the performance. So you got to do whatever you got to do to make that performance right. So afford yourself the license to be free with stuff. Unless it's Shakespeare, you can't add to that shit. But
it did surprise me when you said that and Greg said that he did that here.
Yes.
And what Greg does is he'll in an audition, and you'll get his cue line kind of anything before that.
No, so I kind of worked out over years and years of doing it that I get auditions when I get the lines when I change the lines, because what happens is they go through all these auditions and there might be 70 or 80 people and they're looking at them and everyone is saying the same line and they're all saying it more or less the same, and all of a sudden they come across me and I've said a slightly different line and I've said it in a slightly different way and it's with a slightly different rhythm, and they go, what was that? And they stop and look, because there's so many. And if they're all the same, then they're not they're interested. But it's just, it pops out, and they instantly, it just makes sense. But I almost do it on purpose.
Well, you almost do it on purpose, but you also do it because it makes you feel good. It gives you the confidence. Because it's all about truth. It's all about getting to a place of truth.
Absolutely, yeah. And
truth for you in your experience.
And it works for me. Yeah. For someone like Peter, he tends to love sticking to the line. To him it works. That's what gives him the confidence to stay with the line.
The freedom for me is once the structure's up, then I can be free in it. That's how it works for me. And everyone's fucking different, right?
Well, that's right. There is no right or wrong way.
No.
Except
this way is wrong.
Yeah, probably. I was going somewhere with auditions, but what I was getting at before I was misinterpreted and attacked verbally by Greg was when you mentioned to me that you did shitty auditions and then good ones, you came to me, you came around to saying, because it's not about getting it right. You might as well, you know what I mean?
Yes.
For you, it's about something else.
Yes.
When you're in there.
It's a different beast too. It's completely different. I mean, auditioning is completely separate to being on set for me.
And wouldn't you say hard?
I'm terrible at auditions, like terrible, because auditioning is all about performing, proving, and that's the thing I hate about auditioning. And what I don't think there's any actor, very few actors like auditioning. It's a different exercise. But when I'm on set, I'm a beast because I'm totally confident. This is my world. This is my place. You know, I know what I'm doing.
You are. Yeah.
What were the big differences? And yeah, feel free to chip in at any point, Greg. What were the big differences? 5 weeks in a fucking capsized boat. What were the differences between working in big budget stuff, TV and film, overseas, LA, and working on this for you? So what did you pick out of the how we do things in New Zealand that was the same?
Well,
worse.
Look, the common denominator is nothing changes. I mean, everything is exactly the same between action and cut. There's no difference no matter where you're at. The only difference in this film is that I don't have a trailer and the catering sucks. You know, so, but on big budgets, it's the same principle. You know, I mean, I could walk onto a Southern films and TV shows that, you know, like Prison Break, it was 12 million an episode. You know, and the show that I'm about to do in August is 11 million an episode. And so when you walk onto a TV show like that, there are 1,000 cameras and there's cranes and there's just fucking everything and blah, 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 blah. There's no difference. It doesn't make any difference.
Do you ever think of sharing some of that money with some of your new Kiwi friends? Because that's more money than anyone could possibly. You wouldn't miss.
Oh, I'm telling you, that episode is worth that.
Right, very good. Okay. I'm just about ready to open it up to you guys, if you guys.
Yeah,
absolutely. Greg, anything you want to say at this point?
No, I'm good. Thank
I think
you
it's
for
enough.
giving me the time.
You're on your quota, actually. Okay, so I'm going to have a crazy question button that'll sound like this. Which means he doesn't have to answer that, and neither does Greg unless they want to.
That's fine.
So just think about it before you open
There's
it.
nothing, I bet you I'll
Oh yeah, hey, let me just get a shit out of you, but you know. I'm trying to protect Dominic, not that
Oh, stop with the protecting Dominic shit.
He's a frail and fragile soul, isn't he? There's the soul of a flower underneath that tough exterior. So questions over to you guys. Anything you want to ask?
This is for all of you guys. I have a question about how you tackle self-doubt and those places when you're like, fuck, what am I doing with my life? But yeah, how do you tackle self-doubt? Do you have like a...
Yeah, initially it was, there is no cure for that. There is no cure. It's called life. And now my old age of 45, I've kind of worked out that it passes. In life, you're asking a very profound question. You're not asking. I mean, self-doubt is something that affects us all. So things come and go. There is no easy answer to that. Solving the self-doubt. One day you're going to be feeling like shit. One day you're going to go into an audition and you're going to suck. And the next day you're going to be feeling kind of good and you're going to rip in an audition. That's just the way it is. There's no formula for it.
That's a really good answer.
I'm going to come
I can't improve on
I'm going to come in with one, which is, I think, for me, what it was about. There's the self-doubt, but then there's what you do with it. So for me in the past, there was a self-doubt, which I saw as a problem. So then I would act out to try and reassure myself. So I would
Act out in what way?
I'll become an even bigger pain in the ass probably than I was in this.
Jesus. Really? That's fascinating. Why would you do that?
Because I didn't like. I was uncomfortable with that feeling.
Right.
Now Dominic isn't uncomfortable with difficult feelings. He'll just share them. He'll just yell. He'll just go fuck whatever, and it's over. What happens now for me, which is a big change, I'll feel that in my gut. Just with rolling up into action, you sense it in there. It's coming. You know it's a couple of minutes away, and it'll be there. It's like a little ball down, or nerves, or whatever you call it. And I just sit with it. And then it actually becomes my engine room. It actually gives me the fire.
That's very good.
To get through the scene now. But that's a big change now. He's 45, I'm 50, and I only got to that recently.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, you guys are kids, you know, and you know it's like you get. I mean, it's true. As you get older, because you just deal with the same shit. I've just been dealing with shit a lot longer than you guys, so you become less sensitive to it. Really.
Yeah, I think you do. And,
What's it like at 65? I mean, he's 55.
but I think that's sort of taking that negative energy and making it into something that you can use. But to me, it's not self-doubt. It's like an excitement before a scene, usually, and it doesn't. I don't have that fear anymore.
No,
quite.
but
So,
for me in the past that would paralyse or inhibit.
oh, okay.
And now it doesn't, but it's still the same old fucking friend.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. All right. Well, anyway, self-doubt.
Next question.
Engine drivers have that.
Yeah, hands up at the back.
Could you talk a little about representation, maybe, like the importance of knowing which agent or manager you have, the importance of, have you ever had to fire an agent?
No, I haven't had to fire an agent. They say that a big agent. They say that having a great agent is the key to, or one of the keys to success. I'm not sure if I believe that. I think what an agent can do is they can get you, maybe an audition that a lesser agent can or whatever. But at the end of the day, it comes down to talent. So, but you do need an agent to get yourself in the rooms. That's for sure.
Okay, hands up. Thank you.
Hi, I can stand up. It was really interesting what you said about lines and going to auditions and changing your lines, because we get drummed into us so much that we have to have the lines absolutely perfect. And I just wonder, from your experience, have you done the same with callbacks? Because then we get if you go to a callback, you have to be word perfect because you've got the writer, you've got the network, you've got the producers, you've got the director, and if you're not word perfect, then they're going to look at you and go, oh, maybe they're going to change them on set or...
No. It comes down to that you have to do what you got to do to make it work. So if you think by learning the words, by doing the words perfectly, is going to affect your performance, you shouldn't do it. You got to do whatever you got to do to shine in that room.
This comes down to preparation, and this is where Greg was quite rightly saying I'm more exact with the words and stuff. And that's because Dom will, in a sense, change them to fit him. But for me, they're the material that I start with to figure out how I'm going to fucking do it. Because I don't have the confidence that Peter Feeney can do it. I've got to create a character that can do it. So for me, the words are my starting point. So I have a different approach to them, but I will fuck with them and I will change them, and also an audition. But I think that is...
Absolutely. But in terms of the people that are going to hire, the producers and the writers and the people in the room, I don't think they care whether the lines are perfect. They want to see something come out of the screen that they want to hire. And so it's not about...
It's not an exam, we're under this illusion, or I think it's a hangover from school, the headmasters and shit. It's like school teachers, you got to get your fucking exams right. Acting's not about getting shit right. It's not. It's about just doing what you got to do. Whatever your technique is to make the performance pop, just fucking do it and fuck everyone else off. Just as long as you shine in the room. That's it.
Yeah, they're just looking for something. They're looking for a moment.
Yeah, bullshit.
Yeah, they're looking for a moment. They're looking for some life. And I can tell you, I know they're not looking for word perfect.
Yeah,
They're
it's
gonna-
really good to hear that.
Good.
Cool. Hands up. Sir.
My name is Gleb.
What is it?
Gleb.
Hey, Gleb.
You're the Russian guy.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
what I asked
cool.
for you. Как дела? Хорошо.
Yes.
Ладно.
Like you said, there is no right or wrong way to act, and I agree with that. My question is, how do you tackle your characters? I think there's no right or wrong approach towards acting, whether you're using Stanislavski, Dominic, Adler, but I am interested how Marlon Brando tackled his roles, how other actors do it, because everyone has their own approach. So,
Yeah.
What's your approach?
It's really interesting. It's a good question.
What's your approach to acting, no?
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, it's not probably not what we're going to hear. When I was at school, drama school, I'd never read an acting book. I was told to. I think I got through about 20 pages of Uta Hagen. And that was it. Because for me, even then, as a kid, I kind of knew that I don't want to use anyone else's technique. For me, it was all visceral. It was watching Brando. It was watching all these great actors. So I didn't really need to really explore it on an intellectual level. But I do know that Marlon, because I'm a huge fan of Marlon, I've read a lot of his biographies, I do know that he went to Stella Adler School, and she was a huge impact on him. And she got him at just the right age where he was tactile and, you know, amenable for change. So the way I prepare for a role is on a very instinctual kind of gut level. It all comes down to preparation. I make sure that I'm prepared. I know my lines, I've changed lines, and then that's kind of it. Seriously, that's kind of it. It's kind of like, because for me it's imagination based. It's instinctive based. It's not drawing up, and there's no right or wrong. I'm not denigrating or saying anything. It's not about interactions, outer actions, super fuck. I remember Dean Carey telling me that at drama school in Western Australia, and I didn't understand what the fuck he was saying. What do you mean? What is my super objection? What is my outer objection? What's my interaction? I don't fucking know. I'm just spitting out the words as truthfully as I fucking can.
And then when you get other actors in on it, like we were in the movie, everything it's a team effort, and then so you have to prepare to a certain degree, but then you got to let it flow, and things happen.
See, absolutely. And the other thing too is that what Peter teaches the students here is necessary. It's necessary because you may not want to adopt it, it may not be for you, but you have to be exposed to it to understand you have a choice. My choice was not to follow Dean Carey's method, but my choice was maybe to follow like Lisa Scott Murphy, the movement teacher. That was my choice, that was my in. So there is no right or wrong. Peter's method may work for you, or his teaching may work for you, it may not. But you can't be ignorant and think that there's only one way or the highway. You have to explore all of it when you're starting out.
The other thing that interests me is, I'm really interested to see this film, knowing the different styles of all the others, and of course Owen Black, who's not here, who's the fourth guy. Because when you're acting with someone, you're not seeing the finished result. I mean, Dominic and Greg will be wildly different from what I thought they were doing. Once I see it on the screen, it'll be different again.
Mm. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, then the editor has a go, and then everything changes.
But you're right, as soon as we do a read-through, you're starting to hear the music of the scene, You're starting to see the beats from what the other guys are doing, and there's all that happening. It's another reason why work is so much easier than audition.
Yes.
Because you've got all the other actors, you've got the director. That's not in there in that casting room, you're on your own.
Exactly.
Next question, please. Good God. Becky.
In terms of moving from Australia to the States, what was the process for you, and what were the concerns and the worries that you had? What was the driving force that made you go there? Because obviously there's a lot of concern about the right time, having the right team and stuff behind you. What was it like for you?
When I got out of school, drama school, I was doing a lot of, I did some Australian stuff, but I was getting cast in American stuff all the time. And so it just dropped on me. So, I'm going to get myself to the States and just have a shot at that. And then I won the green card lottery. And my wife at the time, since divorced, but she applied for it. I get home and there's this letter from the American consulate saying, "Hey, you've been accepted." And I was, "Oh, great." So I went there, and then I've told you my story about the first year. It was, I believed in myself enough that I could do it. But 6 months struggling is a microsecond. When I tell people it took me 6 months to land my first job, it is. Look, I realize how fucking fortunate I am. I realize how my story is not, what's the word?
A typical story.
A typical story. Yeah. The reality is that all of you guys, look, they tell us a story at school, and I don't want to say this, but I'm going to say it. So get ready, here it comes. When I got into WAPA, the first, Lyle Jones, the great teacher, he looked at us all, 30 of us, and said, one of you, maybe two of you, will make a career out of this. Out of all the students in my class, Huey and I are the only ones working. All of them have gone on to other things, whether it be directing, whether it be producing, whether it be writing, or completely out of the business.
Yeah.
That's acting.
When I teach a class, I always get people's emails, and I keep sending them emails. And I get emails back from people, and it's usually after 3 or 4 years, and they say, "I'm no longer acting. please take me off your fucking email list. And I used to offend me, and now I realise, of course they're no longer acting, because that's the attrition rate, right? Absolutely. Next question. Sir.
Thank you very much for coming this evening.
No, of course, man.
You get an audition, you coach on the audition, you nail the audition, you get brilliant feedback from the casting director to your agent, and the only thing that stops you is he hasn't had enough time on screen.
You what?
He hasn't had enough time on screen, don't know if we can use him, don't know if he can do it on the day.
Unknown quality, risky, blah, blah.
It's, how do you get that?
It's like a catch-22.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you get? He's not getting employed because
I have been now, but what I'm saying is that's
so
always something that
someone's
comes
not
up.
getting employed because they don't have the
I
experience.
can't have the answers.
So how do you get the experience to get employed?
He wants to hear it from you. You go.
Yeah, it's about infrastructure. It's about hitting it early and whispers. People saying, yeah, this kid's kind of good. This kid's kind of got it. You know, he's got it. Is this, that? There's a lot of hype in acting, and work begets work. And
They want new talent. No, Craig Hall, before he went to Australia, we all know Craig Hall, right? Very successful New Zealand actor, now a very successful Australian, New Zealand actor in Australia. You know, he said to me, all the casting people over there, they know what everyone over there can do. They want to see new talent. So they're always looking out for new people. They want it. Even all of us are known quantities. Well, not you, me and Greg.
But, you know, I think the other thing too is you can't, look, I've done some great auditions, and I've done some, you know, and it's got down to me and some couple big movie stars, and the reason why I didn't get the role was because this guy had a bigger monetary value than me. That's just the business. Next question.
A lot of work's done between cut and action.
Yes, you're right. Yeah. What's been your experience with that? And like just like working constantly in New Zealand? I mean, have you been working constantly in New Zealand?
Well, I've worked quite a bit in New Zealand, yeah. But I got a bit lazy. I should have gone, you know, somewhere else. I should have gone to Australia and then sort of tackled your stuff, you know. But it gets, in this country, once you start working, it gets a bit easy, doesn't it? I mean, really, you start to get more and more work, and so you can get a bit lazy. When I had a kid as well,
Right.
so I couldn't really go anywhere. I was a single parent, you know, so for years I couldn't go anywhere. Now I've used her as an excuse. She's 27 now. She's very delicate, and I better just hang around. No, anyway.
Well, that's the other.
On the 5th of May.
Well, I mean, that's the other thing too. I mean, that's interesting you bring that up, because you know, to do what I did, you gotta fucking have balls, man. You gotta have such a belief in yourself, and you gotta have such arrogance, and you gotta be kind of stupid too, you know. Because I when I went to the States, I had a good blossoming career in Australia, and I was making some good money, beautiful beaches, life was good, but it wasn't enough, you know. So it's, for me, it's all about, for me personally, I had that just kind of beast mode. I just wanted to fucking go.
That drive.
Yeah, the drive. Yeah.
What will happen to you, mate, also is casting directors will advocate for you. They'll go, this guy's good, and they'll keep pushing you forward, and the producers and directors will go, no, Shane Fitties, Craig Hall, Craig Barker, Greg Johnson, and then those guys will all be busy, and you'll get your shot. You know?
Have you ever had like an experience working with maybe like an A-list actor where they subverted your expectations, whether they were nicer than you thought they'd be, or they were actually, you know, like not what you thought they'd be in a negative way? Like,
You know, yeah, I've worked with some pretty up there people. Tom Cruise was what I expected. He was just a really nice guy, you know. I mean, just very giving, very, you know. Then I had a really weird experience working with, remember Silence of the Lambs, the guy that says, put the thing in the basket. That guy, Ted Levine, character actor.
Yeah.
And I was more or less kind of straight out of drama school. We were doing the remake of Moby Dick, and Gregory Peck was actually a guest star in that. I mean, a small cameo role. But anyway, so I'm Ted Levine, the big Silence of the Lambs. He's coming off the Silence of the Lambs, and Oscar nominated, the whole thing. The guy was like John McEnroe. I mean, he was just a scream, like lose his shit. You think I lose my shit? This guy would lose his shit every fucking second, and it was like 4 months of it. And Ray Liotta, who has since become a great friend of mine, is the same. they come on screen. Like with Ray, what you see is what you get. He's this bombastic, loud, rude, aggressive person in real life. And he will fucking go at the crew and the actors, and I laugh.
Yeah.
I laugh at him. I think it's hilarious. And that's probably why we've become good friends, because he's a fucking punk. He's a bully, but he's just all soft and mushy inside.
Like him. Yeah. Next question, please. Sir.
I was just wondering,
Get to you next.
when you decided to move to America, was there, and being in New Zealand obviously, once you start getting work in New Zealand, is there any point that you think, a level you reach where you think, okay, maybe now I should try and move over, take that risk and move over, or is it just when you feel ready personally?
Well, I think it certainly comes down to when you feel ready. How old are you?
18.
Okay. Well, Heath made his journey over there when he was 20. Heath Ledger.
Oh, really?
And you're a good-looking kid. They'll put you in the CW. I mean, you gotta make hay. Well, when you're this young, I mean, Hollywood loves young, beautiful people. I wouldn't leave it at fucking his age. I mean, what
65.
he the only way Greg is going to blow up in being able to do big Hollywood movies, and this is just reality, is that if the movie we're doing right now does really well at Sundance, Toronto, all that kind of stuff, and gets great, I'm just talking business. So then the industry see him in there and they go, oh,
As in,
like Jackie Weaver.
yeah.
Jackie Weaver in Animal Kingdom. I mean, she's, I don't know how old she is, but
She's 100.
But yeah, well, I mean, she's in all the big movies right now. So getting back to your question,
It's even possible for someone as ugly as me.
as you, yes, and you have to be the deciding factor in that.
Yeah.
When you're confident enough, when you feel like you're getting a bit of a feel for it all.
Thanks.
No problem. Of course.
I think you were going to go next.
Hi, I'm Trinity.
Hello.
I just want to know how you went about agents when you moved over to America. Did you have one while you were in Australia, or did you go over there?
Yeah, good one. I did an American shocking TV movie of the week called I can't remember what it was called. The President's Daughter, and it was a cable thing, and I played it. I was in Australia, and I played it in America, and then I got all these calls from American agents saying, "Who is this guy?" And then my agency flew me over, all that kind of stuff, and I met them. And yeah.
So you kind of had, America kind of came knocking as well, didn't it?
Again, I'm not the atypical story. I'm not the Don't use me as an example. I mean, I have my kids, and I got 4 kids, and I don't want any of them to be an actor. I don't want to. I'm being real with you guys, because what I've experienced. I've experienced it fucking.
But the other thing that's crazy about Dom is he told us a big story about, I won't go into details, but it was a huge movie that was about to go, that would have been Wolverine for him recently, that fell apart. And he talked about how that fucked him up in his head. It was exactly the same sort of shit we'd get for the fucking week.
Everything's relative.
You just ratchet up your expectations
Absolutely.
as you go.
Absolutely. They kind of sought me out. And that's entirely possible. That's the beautiful thing about what we do. Anything is possible. And that's why we keep hanging in there. Because it can change your life. You can be a nobody one day and somebody the next.
My question is kind of going off the studios over here about timing. Like, I'm kind of lucky I've got a passport there, and everyone I talk to is like, oh my god, why did you go?
You American? Your mom American?
Yeah, I got dual citizenship.
Oh, nice.
So it's quite
Good for you.
Yeah. There's so many marriage proposals. But the question I have is I always get really anxious about getting too old. Like is there any cutoff time? Like, especially as a female actor, there is.
Well, I think what you're asking is valid. With females, yes, there is. Unfortunately, there are not a whole lot of. You guys know this. As soon as a woman hits 35, 40. You know, men, we can look at Sean Connery. I mean, he was voted the sexiest man at fucking 70.
And Anthony Hopkins only got more handsome as he got older.
Yeah, exactly. So,
I agree.
you know, again, it's getting to America. You gotta go there when you decide is right for you. You know, only you can decide. Am I confident enough to deal with that? And is it something I really want to do? You know, if you really, 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 really want to do it, absolutely. Go. You can only be told no.
You worked on Prison Break for about, would have been like 5 or so years.
Yes.
What is that experience like versus film? Like working on a project for a number of years versus like a 2-month, 3-month shoot?
Sure. TV is a marathon, film's a sprint. TV, you have time to kind of develop the character, and after a while you become very lazy about it, which is good because you're so relaxed in front of the camera and you know your character. Film, it's kind of like, okay, you get in there, you do it, there's a bit more pressure, there's a bit more things you got to nail. In terms of the experience, is there any difference? No, I'll go back to the same thing. You're in front of the camera, there's no it's action and cut all the way across, both film and TV.
So for all those years that you were doing Prison Break, you still found it, I mean, I'm not sure why it ended, but you still found it fresh coming back each
No,
time?
God, no. First season, great. Second season, starting to become really... Third season was a grind. Fourth season was, I went off this show. Which is really, in hindsight, typical of humanity, of being a human being. You don't realize what you're on until it's gone. And I've since learned that lesson. Prison Break is a one-off. It'll never happen again in my career. I was fortunate enough to be a part of something that became a phenomenon, and you know, again, I had no say in that. I had no control on that. That was just fate. Yeah.
Building from that, I've got a question. Thank you. My experience of being with a film project or a short project, in a sense, all the work, all the preparation you're going to do, it stops on day one of filming, and after that, you're coasting with it. You know, for me, if you haven't done that work by then, it's too fucking late.
Absolutely. I have a...
That's my experience.
Yeah, but I mean, my way of working is, I'm not sure how you work, but if I get a film and I've got to go off and I have a film in, say, 5 weeks, I get the script that night, I learn it. I learn it back and forth. It takes me about usually a week and a half to get my fucking lines down the way that I want to say the lines. I get it down, I nail it, and then after about a week and a half, 2 weeks, I just come back to it maybe once a week, twice a week, twice a week, and then I forget about it. I mean, it's still percolating, but I nail it in the first. I do all my prep within a week and a half to 2 weeks, and then I let it just sit in there on a subconscious level, and then I get to set, and then like all the stuff that we're doing on this movie, like. I have no sense of what's happening. I don't know what's happening tomorrow. I don't know what scenes we're doing because you know, there's so many.
That's right. The office is what scene are we doing now? I'm like, well, just about to fucking film it, man.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't know. And then I look at this thing. Oh yeah, I remember this. You know, and then.
It's in there. It's just there, isn't it? It just sits in there.
Yeah.
Does that keep it fresh then?
I don't know.
Fresh for you guys?
Well, I think so. I mean, that's the way I kind of work. You know, I certainly don't go home at night and fucking prep for the next day because I've done all my prep before I got the film.
Yeah. Then it just sits in there and it's like almost like an old friend.
And that's at the
right time.
Absolutely,
you know?
absolutely, and that's part of neuroplasticity. You know, the brain. It's, you know, I've read this book on neuroplasticity, and the brain itself actually works in a way where you go hard at something and you memorize something, and it really and the best time it works is in the first week and a half. Of just going hard at it every day. Like, I mean, when I'm talking prep, I can sit in my room for 6 hours and just fucking drive through the script and learn it. By about a week and a half to 2 weeks, it's there, it's done. And this book on neuroplasticity says that's the best way to learn. You go hard, then you drop it. Then you come back to it about 4 weeks later and you find it's just kind of there. It's like, I'm not sure if you've had that experience if you play sport or tennis or whatever it is. You train, then after a while you're really bad because you've just played, and then you come back to it about a month later, and then all of a sudden you're just fantastic. That's a scientific fact.
Kind of muscle memory for the brain.
It does make you think getting
Well, theatre's quite interesting if you do theatre, you know, because it's kind of like, if you do the same thing, especially if you go into the provinces and you have like, you know, a sort of a 6, 7, 8 week run, by the second week, you know, you've got it down and you're pretty bored. But what can happen is you can watch yourself and that feeling of being so relaxed because you've got no problem with the lines, you're not afraid of not knowing your lines, you know all the movements, and each movement sort of, and you can watch yourself grow, and what you can do when you're relaxed is amazing, because all of a sudden, and it's a really good realisation if you get a chance to do a lot of theatre, do as much as you can, because it gives you that opportunity to understand what's going on with you as an actor, and what you can achieve if you relax and just let it happen, you know, and it's a really liberating feeling.
I totally agree, and that's really right thing you said, because that was my experience at drama school. You know, getting back to drama school, what I get out of drama school, I got confidence and I got movement. But to elaborate more, it was the opportunity to do theatre. I've never done a professional play in my life, by the way. So, but I did a lot of it at school, at drama school. You know, in front of an audience and all that kind of stuff. But again, it built up confidence, and confidence is just another word for relax. And I think that comes back to Brando. That ties back to Marlon in that he was relaxed in front of the camera.
Yeah, that's what Duval said about him, was there was no difference between him before and after the take.
Exactly.
There's no... now just moving on, the next person in the queue, before Rachel, I think. Was there someone? Thanks, mate.
So I want to go back and talk a little bit about confidence and that moment before the John Doe interview when you were lying on the ground.
Yeah.
So to me, I sort of took that as you had a moment of you just didn't give a fuck anymore, and then your confidence boosted up. Is that sort of what it was like?
I wish it was that simple. I did give a fuck, but I kind of had a profound bit of insight into the universe in that particular day, that particular moment. Even though I was still feeling anxious and whatever, physically I just kind of gave into it. Not maybe mentally, but physically. That act of just lying on the concrete, you know, it was just bizarre. I mean,
isn't that about reverence? Isn't that about giving yourself permission to do fucking anything?
I think
just
so.
Before
Absolutely.
you go into an audition, you're sitting there and people are going, "This is like, why is this person lying on the road?"
That's it. What he just
But
said.
that was his instinct to do that right then, and that's his instinct serving him.
And by doing that, by following that, whatever it was, it unlocked something, not consciously, but on a subconscious level.
Because Dominic's more or less said to me a couple of times this shoot, you've got to be yourself, because what else you fucking got? And that means doing shit that might offend people, upset people, but really, and that's Dominic, but really no one's been that upset or offended because they've worked out he's a good guy. But that's kind of where he's at, you know? He's with that flow.
Have you two also had similar moments through your career? Like
What, as in?
just a moment where...
Well, I've had a different career, because I mean, it's gone on, and I know the casting directors, and so I became pretty relaxed in front of, for auditions even, it's quite early on. So, and there's a part of me also that I know that there's parts that I'm just not right for. But I go along with them because you just never know. Because sometimes I have got a part that I wasn't right for, and I nailed it, and it was perfect, and I actually was right. So sometimes you're wrong, but you know, a lot of times you're just not right for the part. But and so I don't beat myself up if I don't get the audition, and so and also the pressure. That's why I got a bit lazy, because the pressure that I had, you know, it wasn't so much in this country because I was kind of working regularly anyway, so I didn't really have I didn't have to lie. But you're also. I mean, if we're going to talk about it, I mean, physically you're different, and no. But what I'm saying is that because, and this is, I'm not trying to be funny, I'm not trying to be a smartass, but because of Greg's physicality, he's not threatening, so he can walk into a room and people will kind of embrace him anyway. You know, and so the environment that his physicality generates supports a nurturing kind of environment world for him, and that's probably one of the reasons why you have been so relaxed. But I find the opposite. I find that when I walk into a room, people are like tense up.
fuck, you know, and that's been my experience, you know, and I give off that energy, of course, but that also has affected my experience.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, happy? Yeah. Cool. Rachel, was it next?
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, I guess just any specific roles or experiences that you've had in your career which have really challenged and perhaps shaped you?
Yeah. John Doe, the first one, I played a character who washes up on a beach and knows everything in the world but his own name and his identity. He knew everything, from Einstein stuff to all kinds of literature, science. I mean, he was. So every day I was spitting out paragraphs of. This is probably my distaste for too much words and continuity, because this really affected me badly. So I had this character. Everything that he said, imagine Einstein talking about nuclear physics. That's what my guy would do. So he'd jump from nuclear physics to some kind of literature or whatever it is, anything. And there was one scene towards the end of the year where I just fucking had enough. But I told the writers they were assholes, and I told them to fuck off. We had this big fight and whatever. And then I got to set one night and I got the script for prepping for the next episode, and they'd given me a paragraph in Farsi that I had to learn. And I said to myself, in Farsi, I'm not kidding you, because I'm playing the smart guy, the one who knows everything. So I said, fuck that, I'm not going to fucking learn that. That's bullshit. So, and this is on a 8-day show, and I'm the character, 24 episodes, 22 episodes, 11 scenes I wasn't in a year. Speaking the kind of shit that I spoke. And now that I'm talking about it to you guys, I'm kind of realizing just in this moment as to my aversion to too much fucking talk, too much technicalities, because that was awful. But those bastards got me back in the end, because I got to set that night and fuck that, I'm not doing that. I'm going to say this in 2 lines in English. And then the last episode was this big, huge thing, and I had to do it because it was just part of the fuck. I couldn't get out of it. It was like they got me to, and if you get John Doe, it's on DVD or Netflix, whatever it is. It's the last episode. You'll see me, my character, speaking in Farsi, Spanish, French, and doing sign language all in the same scene. Absolute truth. So that was the hardest. And this has been the film that Peter, Greg, and I are doing has been physically very demanding, but mentally exhausting.
You knew that going into it, eh?
Yeah, I did.
So what? Right, okay.
Well, I knew it was...
Talk a bit more about that.
Yeah, well, I knew that it was because of the nature of the story. You have 4 men setting sail, and up they get hit in a storm. A big wave comes and flips the boat. They drown. They're not drowning, but they're in this small hull for 4 months out at sea. And I knew visually that we were gonna get on each other's fucking nerves.
We did.
And I knew that there was no way out of that. There was no way. You know, we have this. We're filming all this shit out at sea. There was no stopping, getting off the boat and having a relax or a smoke or whatever. And we started becoming the characters. And so I kind of knew that going in. And but what's been a blessing doing this movie is the fact that we're all on the same page, we're all equals, and we banter all the time. And there's no censorship. We're out in the ocean, we're out in the thing, and man, it's so unpolitically correct, but fuck, it's so funny. We just laugh all day long.
Great memories. Any other question?
The intellectual homosexual.
Talk more about prep. Like, you read your lines, you say 2 weeks. Do you just read your lines, or do you go into the character? Like, do you say, director, who do you base this off? I want to go and find them, meet them, or do you search on the internet, or how deep do you go?
I don't do any research. I honestly don't. this movie, I haven't read the book. I got to set and Peter said, you should read this, you should read that, you should read that. I said, yeah, fair man, sure, cool. He handed me the book. I took the book because I'm not a rude person, but I knew that I wasn't going to read it. But I don't understand why I'm like that. I don't know why that is, but again, it comes back to, for whatever reason at drama school, I didn't read any acting books. Maybe I'm innately lazy. I don't know. Probably. Well, I hated school, so. But my prep is all about making sure that I know my lines, and I have the ability to change them, and then I imagine what I'm going to do. That's it. And what's your prep?
Same thing, actually.
Same thing.
I sit around with this, with this, about the same thing for about two weeks or so with the script in bed with me.
Right, me too.
And it's just all over the bed, and it's just constantly, and I don't write anything.
This guy never stops writing shit.
It's
like, what the fuck are you writing on your script?
Well, he used to come up to me and say, what is that stuff you've written? And I'd go, oh, these are direct quotes from my actual character, of course they weren't. So me going, try this on this line, you know.
Anyway, sorry.
Well, that's it really, and it's the same sort of thing, and I visualise what I'm going to do, so that I know, basically, but you've got to be open enough for changes.
Yes.
The director's got his idea, he's at home in his bed with his script doing the same sort of shit. So you've got to be open to the changes and the other actors and all that sort of thing. But yeah, basically just that idea of just reading it and then just letting it just soak in.
There's a tendency to make acting sound like this kind of, it ain't that complicated. Acting's not that complicated. It's if you get to the point of the matter, all you're trying to do is spit out some words as truthfully as possible. That's what you're trying to do.
And all kids, when you're a kid, you used to do it all the time.
Yeah.
You sit around with those things.
Absolutely, they're the greatest actors of all time. Kids. When my son, who is 11, when he was 6, 7, when he pretended to be Superman, fuck, he believed it.
Yeah.
He fucking believed that he could fly. Yeah. And when I was 11 years old, I believed that I was Spider-Man, and I would climb up a tree, and I believed inherently that I could fucking do this, and there was things coming out until I fell off the fucking tree and broke my fucking leg. And then, but that's the kind of discipline you're looking for. But unfortunately, as you get older, we become less capable of imagining and believing. We become conscious of reality. And so, as an actor, I don't believe I just don't believe that you can have fleeting moments where you're unconscious of your performance. But 95% of it, we are conscious of our performance. And that's why, when we get back to, that's why camera technique is kind of important. But that's why I think people like Brando and maybe Daniel Day-Lewis and De Niro certainly in his younger days kind of get to a different level when they really commit to stuff.
That's why kids, when I was about 6, my sister stole my crayons.
Your sister?
My sister. My sister, he was making fun about but those crayons had disappeared, and they were the last, as far as I was concerned, there were no more crayons in the world. And I've never forgotten it. And I was in tears, and it was unbelievable that the crayons, they don't exist anymore.
Right.
And so you completely, as a kid I was completely in the moment. And really that's what you're trying to do. But you're treating the moment while you're still conscious of the camera.
Yeah, you have to be conscious of the camera. I mean, look, unless you're a fucking schizophrenic, who actually believe that they're talking to rats. I mean, don't beat yourself up. I've tried to be completely immersed in a character and completely unaware of everything. I've done the whole fucking be on set in character 24/7 and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't work for me. I mean, I know it's Dominic Purcell being really kind of stupid. I did a movie called Straw Dogs with Kate Bosworth and Alexander Skarsgård, and I had a meeting with the director, Rod Laurie. So I get into the meeting, and I'm expecting to play one of the rapists. And he said, no, I want you to play the mentally challenged guy. Yeah. And I was like, really?
You get an Oscar for that.
Oh, no, hang on, but no one saw it. I said, wow, thank you so much. So there I was on set, trying to play a guy with a mental illness, like really kind of, I won't use the R word, retarded, I won't use that, but he was out there. And so I was doing the whole, all that kind of stuff. And I tried to really work hard to do that. And I was fucking embarrassed the whole time doing it. It felt really pretentious doing that. So I just didn't do it. I mean, I tried it for a couple of days and it's not fucking working. So when the camera went, I'd get straight into it.
Do you think it is really important to try and establish good relationships with the writers and stuff so that they actually sort of work with you?
No, it's a balance. It's a balance. So I'm not going to call a writer a fucking cunt or a bastard son of a bitch. You know, how dare you fucking write that shit?
Motherfucker, mate.
Motherfucker. Oh well, I did call the director motherfucker on this show. But you have to be able to have a balance. But in finding that balance, you need to protect yourself. You know, you need, because you're a business. You're the one that's putting yourself out there. You're the one that's going to be savaged by the critics, not the director. So you have to think like a businessman as well, and you have to be very careful about your product. I keep working with a lot of the same people because I'm a fair person. I'm an honest person. I say it how it is. You know, and if that person can't accept me for my truth, well, he's not someone I want to be around.
Last question for me for these guys, is any advice that you've got for these guys?
Just believe in yourselves. Really believe in yourselves. And there's nothing more beautiful in life than having a dream and a passion. And that's one of the greatest gifts that acting has afforded me. To be in the position that I'm in today, I'm so grateful for. And it's moments like this that it comes home to me that I'm in a really privileged position. And I only got here because of hard work and belief. That's what I would give you.
I think the whole evening's been about advice. I think that, you know, you believe in yourself is important. Preparing and getting confident about what you do in terms of your skill, you know, in terms of acting. You know, just keep going. Don't stop. That's it.
Because Greg will die eventually.
Greg tries to say as little as possible, but he finds himself, Greg's little as possible is about 15 words in. 15 sentences. That's an edit.
I stopped myself there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to wind it up now. I'm also just feel free to come up and chat to any of us. I know Greg will be mobbed. And I just want to thank Greg for his time and for Dominic. For me, to be honest, having Dominic along was a thrill, but Greg is well, he's almost a TV icon, but he's a hell of a good actor. And I've only worked with him once before many years ago, and working with these guys has been a real education for me. And it's because of their generosity. And so tonight I want to thank them both, particularly Dominic, for suggesting the idea. It's been an education for me working with them, and I hope it's been an education for you hearing some of the things I had to say tonight. Thanks very much.
Thank you.